Ghostbusters.
Nice landing, Han Solo.
Spaceships and Luke Skywalker sold separately. Batteries not included.
That toy life.
What up? What up, friends?
Oh, sorry. I just Oh, okay. All right. I have to go. Sorry, that was the district attorney for Jonathan Majors. He was letting me know that there's more people that are angry with him.
Ooh. Oh God, this keeps piling up. Jesus.
And I can't stop it. I can't help myself. I can't.
And I'm just
angry. I'm angry with him.
Hey,
man, I was excited.
Say what's going on in movies, and then I found out. Well, he was going on in movies, and then he's not going to be in movies any longer.
So we know. Well, I guess we know why Marvel saw that spark of a great villain when they cast him as King.
Yes, so
there's something something.
Jordan saw that spark of a villain in Creed.
Kevin Feige was just watching his. There's something about his aura. It's just. He can exude that menace. He's just like, he was menacing people. Yeah.
The thing is,
they were. Go ahead.
I was just going to say he's tied into the Marvel universe. They've already filmed the new season of Loki with him, right?
Yeah,
he's in Ant-Man. He's in the new Ant-Man.
It's going to be an interesting thing to see what plays out because a lot of people are making comparisons to the Ezra Miller Flash debacle that's going on right now because there's a lot of stuff up in the air that there's not going to be any official comment until sometime after the products have dropped. We can say that all we want, but there's not going to be anything officially announced until after. Yeah. I think that's the same thing that's going to happen right here is they know that they've got a lot of irons in the fire that he's already been paid for and but it's only 2 projects and that was Ant-Man, which is already done, and Loki season 2, which is already done. So most likely what's going to happen is Loki, they're going to just pretend nothing's going on. They're not going to acknowledge it. And then after season 2, they'll probably say something like, we came to a mutual understanding and we're parting ways. And
so you think they're just going to just recast them? I
guess it depends on how far this whole thing that's going on, how far it goes, because it's stacking up against them and it's not looking good, but
it didn't look good in the beginning.
Yeah. But Marvel's in an interesting place right now because they're messing around with the whole multiverse concept, and they've already shown variants don't just have to look like the one actor. You can have multiple faces for a single character. We saw that with Spider-Man, and so that it's an easy way for them to have an out, so they can just recast him, and he's going to be another Kang, or another version of who Franklin Richards or descendant, I guess. Does he have tons of different names, or are they all known as Kang?
I think they're all known as Kang.
Okay.
But I did notice a rumor going around that they're looking at Ray Fisher to replace.
that would be an interesting little.
Cyborg is gonna play Kang. Yeah,
that would be an ultimate comeback. He's like, "Hey, I'm available."
I've been doing theater for the past 3 years.
And if you haven't heard, I'm not a big fan of DC, so that's on my resume. You can see, but no, I'm with you. I was rooting for the guy. I really liked him in Creed 3, and I was excited to see Ant-Man, and he looked good in the trailer. I just don't know much about the character, the Kang character, but no, I thought he was a pretty good actor. Very, very scary.
He's a very good actor. From even that last episode of Loki season 1 when he was in it, man, he was like the best actor on the set to me.
Oh yeah, he's been great in everything I've seen him in. Lovecraft Country. Oh gosh, what else was it?
I was gonna say that's the show I still need to watch. Lovecraft.
The Harder They Fall. He's fantastic. Unfortunately, it looks like he's not the nicest person.
Yeah. That's true.
No, it sucks though, because we're probably going to see Ant-Man soon. I wanted to go see Dungeons and Dragons this week, and then we had like a family emergency thing or setback, and we ended up not being able to go. So I'm disappointed. I wanted to see that. Last thing I saw was we finally got to see the Super Mario Brothers movie in theaters.
Was it good?
No, it was great. It was like, I mean, if you're a Nintendo fan, it's just a ball. You'll leave with a big smile on your face. I loved it. It was just a fun movie, and it's one of those where it's short and sweet, so you could just watch it over and over and over again. I bet.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, and then there's a million Easter eggs in it, so I just can't wait to go back and watch it again. But no, it was a fun time in the movies, man. I enjoyed it. So I feel like this year's stacking up so far. I've had John Wick 4 and Super Mario Brothers. You know, Ray swears that Dungeons and Dragons is going to be a great ride, and it looks like it to me. I mean, it looks great to me. So I almost feel like that's going to be a great movie. It just seems like it's stacking up. I just didn't get to see Ant-Man. Has anybody seen it yet?
Oh yeah, I saw it the week it came out.
Was it great, or was it just like?
It wasn't great. I mean, it was a good Marvel movie, right? I don't get all the hate for it.
I've enjoyed both Ant-Man so far, so I just didn't know if this one stacked up.
Yeah, it stacks up about the same as Ant-Man 2.
Okay.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Nothing like really special, but nothing really bad. It's just this is a Marvel movie, you know, so you get your expectations up a little bit, and they're not let down because it's action packed, funny. You know, it's a good Marvel ride, but not like the greatest ride ever.
Gotcha. Fair enough. It was kind of like when I saw Thor, Love and Thunder. It just, to me, number one, they were like all the gimmicky songs. I mean, all the rock songs was great, but at the same time, it felt like it was resting on those songs.
Oh yeah.
And then it like it had amazing cinematography, and you could see just from just a lot of the shots, you could just see probably the sketch, the conceptual artists what they came up with and stuff. And it, especially what was that planet called that you see
in the
everything
beginning?
Showdown? Yeah. It's like, I think but just stuff like that, or like the dead god or whatever that's fallen over, and stuff like that. I mean, it's like, I love how it looks, but it just in story, it didn't stack up. So, I mean, I enjoyed it, but to a certain point, I mean, it was like, okay, it was better than I thought it was going to be, but still not as good as Ragnarok.
No. Ant-Man Quantumania is better than Love and Thunder.
It looks really good too. I was like, the Quantumania looks like it's going to be a pretty big.
Now, last Friday I did go see an interesting movie. Renfield.
Oh, I do want to see that.
Yeah, that was actually like an option. We come really close to going to see that because of the fact that we couldn't go see Dungeons. Yeah. Me and my wife were like, do you want to just go see something like Renfield then, or and I was like really close. But when I told her it was just going to be a comedy, she backed off of it. So I didn't know what she was thinking it was going to be.
It was pretty
horror comedy.
I didn't know that Robert Kirkman wrote the screenplay for it.
Oh, did he?
Until the end, I was like, wow, okay, this is got some comic ties to it. But now I really need like a Nicolas Cage as Dracula action figure.
Oh, I can totally see. NECA's probably going to do it because it's a Universal movie, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think NECA has a deal with Universal Monsters because they've got the old original Dracula and then all the alternate stuff that references Dracula. Okay. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do some well, I guess you still have to make the deal with Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm.
So if he'll allow it, then I could see him doing a figure.
Yeah,
because they would be like, "We'll give you one."
It's like a dark comedy, so it's funny. Gore is kind of over the top. Gore, like crazy over the top in some cases.
Is it like the OG Buffy movie? Remember the OG Buffy movie?
Oh yeah, Paul Rubens.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that.
That is one of the best vampire deaths I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh yes, I do remember that.
Paul Rubens he just hams it up and they let it go. It feels like one of those early moments of like true ad lib moment where the director just says, just hold it, just let him do it, just let him have a little fun.
This is gold. This is gold. Keep it
going. Just a little part where he crouches over and he kicks at the wall twice and then he just slumps over.
But I will say though, that there's an option. I mean, if NECA were to do it, there's there are about 3 or 4 different versions of Nicolas Cage's Dracula that they could make.
Oh wow!
So that would be really really
alternate
cool.
heads.
Nah, you could
Or-
you'd have to
or
do
alternate
Different
figures.
bodies.
Oh, like
You
we're
have to
talking
do
like
a totally different
Pennywise.
sculpt, yeah, because of just his appearance.
Wow.
And I'm not going to spoil anything. You know, I'll let you watch it. But
Well,
Speaking of Pennywise, NECA put out a lot of
Mhm. 2 or 3, I think, didn't they?
stuff.
Yeah.
Huh? Oh
Because
yeah,
they did,
like,
like,
and there's
2 or
like
3
different box sets
Yeah.
versions of them, and then the
Tim
smaller
Curry
versions, and the Tim Curry versions, the Toonie Terror versions of each one, and so I can even see them doing like the Toonie Terror version of Nicolas Cage. I'm all for it. I'm totally down to buy Nicolas Cage. They need to do like face-off figures. Man, speaking of that, but talking about the original Buffy movie, you know, I've never really watched the series, but I love the original movie.
dude,
I never could get into the series.
I'm actually kind of in the same ballpark, are pretty much in the same, probably the same seating row as you.
Yeah, I never.
Because we have friends that we both like have friends in our friend circles. You know, we have people that worship.
Loved
you know
it.
that was like that for other people was like what Smallville was for me. You know, or I'm not sure if that was the same for you, Austin. But
well, I feel like
Smallville was my Buffy. Yeah.
I guess if you compare the two, then I would say Smallville was probably mine then too, because I just you were the one that got me into Smallville. So
because it's just one of these shows that lasts 7 or more seasons, and it's just kind of something that plays through your formative years, so it kind of cements itself into you almost in a way. Like
I used to love Buffy, man. I I didn't like the movie as much, but yeah,
I don't
know why, but I loved it. It was kind of like one of those original, like, I don't know, like I guess at the time, you know, I really loved all the women and like aliens, you know, like the badass women. You had Sigourney Weaver, you had Sarah Connor, you had just all these people, and then all of a sudden you had like this out of nowhere vampire slayer thing, and I had never really been into vampires, but that movie, for whatever reason, I think I caught it on VHS. I remember when it was coming out, and I just remember it being totally different than what I thought it was going to be, and I just remember enjoying the heck out of the movie, and I would always watch it when it would come on TV.
Right? Yeah, I think it's the same reason why I probably like it, is because that was my, I watched that first. I was I watched that movie way before I ever watched the show, and I enjoyed that movie. I didn't watch it on the way I watched it. Actually, was when I was really little. I didn't have any cable or satellite or anything in my house, so we just lived off the antenna. But what my grandpa would do was, he had cable. He lived in Florida. He would do this thing sometimes. If there was a movie on HBO, he would like record it with his VCR. You could. And he would like record it on VHS. So he had recorded Buffy the Vampire Slayer for me and my sister to watch. So we had our own little VHS copy we would watch, and that was a wild movie.
No, it was. It was weird.
Stephen Root was in it. He was the principal.
Yeah,
he was the principal. He was the one at the end who was like he was giving detention slips to all the dead vampires.
I love Stephen Root.
Detention and detention.
And it's funny that you would think that would have been a movie that would have gotten a toy line back then, because they were giving every movie, even those R-rated movies, they were giving them toy lines, and that would have been ripe for a toy line. I don't think they did, right? It was just for the TV series, because the TV series, I think, got some toys, especially later on in the collector's market.
Yeah.
I think it got some toys, but talking about that, I was going into Planet Fun the other day and looking through all the different like movie toys. They had all the different, I forget how many different franchises. Like Police Academy was a toy franchise. And it reminded me, I'm trying to think of like the equivalent, because to me it was it was like when the Ninja Turtles got really wacky. It reminded me a lot of like the Police Academy toys. And then also the Crash Test Dummies was also sort of, it felt like a throwback to Police Academy. But like, I don't know, I've noticed now when I go into toy places, especially let's say Avatar is a $2 billion movie. Looks like those toys really aren't moving. Like, I don't see kids really going for the Avatar movie toys.
It doesn't ever feel like that one does like any merchandising in, like they merchandise it. They do try to put merchandise out, but I never really see a lot
there must
of
just be a very strong core, small niche of collectors that do that. They're the ones that probably totally dress as thought they had the tails and everything and dress as the characters.
Yeah, because I mean they get all the big people, making the merchandise for them. They get who's doing the X-rays?
McFarlane Toys.
McFarlane did the Avatar.
Well, I was going to say I actually look at them in the toy stores, and McFarlane's doing it, and they look fantastic. If I was a collector, I would be happy with the toys. It's just I just don't see anybody getting them. They just I mean they're just piles of them. And they finally just go.
Yeah, and even Lego, Lego did sets for the movie, the new one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they got.
I bet that sells probably better.
Well, everything Lego sells.
That's what
I'm saying. Like, if your stuff's doing well enough for Lego to license it, then I would say you're doing pretty well, like in terms of a fandom.
I mean, even if you go to during after the Christmas rush. Mm-hmm. Walmart will put some of those Lego sets on clearance.
Yeah. And
along with a lot of other toys. But that first wave of clearance, most of those Lego sets are gone, just dropping $10 or $20 off, especially the high end stuff. But some of the action figures that are normally $20, mm-hmm. sometimes they clearance down to like $2 or $3 before they sell. And that's crazy. And then somebody will come in and wipe out everything because it's, $2 or $3 for whatever. But the Lego stuff just it's gone. I was waiting on there was a Star Wars set at Walmart last week, and it was down to $40. It's like a 3-in-1. I've never seen it before. It was like make 3 different Imperial ships or something. Okay. But there was 3 sets of them at $40, and I was like, I might just hold off, see if it drops next week. I went in there yesterday, and they were all gone. So,
man, I was so close to getting. I wanted to get. I'm looking for the Grand Inquisitor Black Series. I want to get him, but I came across the Fifth Brother in Macy's, and I forget that Macy's has the toy. Like they have the Toys R Us sections now.
Yep.
So if you ever have a Macy's near you, you ought to check those out. They actually have like a decent. I didn't see any major DC stuff. I mean, they had DC and Marvel, but they had a good bit of Star Wars stuff. But man, I was close to getting the Fifth Brother because they had it on sale. But I was trying to be good.
Well,
that stuff coming up, but
Macy's is where everybody's picking up the Flash movie figures from McFarlane.
Well, that's what I looked here in town, and I haven't seen it yet, but that's what I was hearing. The only thing I'll see, talking about the Flash movie stuff, I've been to Walmart and I've seen Spin Masters has been putting out the figures. I saw like some Keaton Batman. Like I was actually this close to buying the $10, the big old foot-long
series or whatever it is. Yeah.
Well, no, it's just like the big tall figure. Like, it's like $10, and it's got a lot of articulation. The sculpt isn't that bad. It was cloth goods cape attached to it. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait because look.
I always wonder about the quality of those type of figures, though.
They're
how big they are.
It's like I'm freaking out when I'm like I'm sitting here with this fella, so it's like I'm good, but I really the big NECA Batman. So it's like I'm good, but I really dude, it's so great. And have you seen that NECA's announced they're releasing the utility belt?
Oh, really?
Yes, we'll show that in a second. But this right here, I mean, this is the best $100 I ever spent. I mean, he is worth it. Everything.
So is it hollow plastic or is it? I mean, is it
sort of? I don't know. Like because he feels pretty solid. I mean, it basically feels like one of these figures just blown up because he's very heavy. I mean, very heavy. I don't know.
Does he got articulation? I'm just trying to think for $100.
Oh yeah. No, I mean it's pretty much just as much articulation as the figures, and you can pop this head off to take the cape off and everything. It's a cloth cape. It comes with a whole set of gadgets and stuff. You have these rods you can hook into the cape, and then hook them into his hand so he can lift the cape. Like into the bat pose. Because I mean, this thing's got the spread on it's wild, it's
that is cool.
Yeah,
and so you can move his arms up and down, I guess.
Oh yeah. I just haven't messed with them too much, but yeah, you can it's all articulated and stuff.
So it's not a cloth suit or a rubber suit. It's sculpted, like the arm is sculpted and it's inserted with a joint or something.
His chest piece feels rubber, like it's because if you look, it's a separate. Like you look here, it's separate from the body. See how it's like body armor. So he's got like his body piece here, and then the plastic right.
I was kind of curious just to see if it was something similar to like what Hot Toys does.
Probably so. That's what it reminds me of, is like a Hot Toys figure.
Well, Hot Toys would do like a rubber suit over their articulated figure, right? And over time, especially if you lift an arm or something like that, you leave it lifted, that rubber would start tearing and you have this big hole.
Okay.
Especially like on skin tone, like Wonder Woman. I've seen it happen a bunch on the Wonder Woman figures because she's got bare arms posed out, holding something. She'd have this big hole.
Luckily this one's separate. It's basically like a big figure, so it's like separate joints and stuff. So it's not yo, what's up, Sky Knight?
What's up, Sky Knight?
I feel like immediately there should have been horns playing, like. Yeah.
Hey, but next time we ought to get something set up for that. Yeah.
Some real big fish or some mighty boss stones just immediately starts playing. But no, I mean, yeah, no, it's a great figure. But I really do want to get the Keaton Batman, like the one Ray had. Ray, I think, ordered the one of the variants. I think you've got all of them, I think, coming, right?
Yeah, if they come.
Yeah.
I ordered I've got the Masses one, which I was going to show at the hall.
I was going to say, I was wondering if
the version without. Yeah, it was the version without the mask. But I did order like the regular and the 89 and the Ben Affleck Batman.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I want to get the 89. I want to get the Keaton. I want to get one of the Flash. To be honest with you, I'd really like to get the Young Barry Flash, the one with the bootleg Batman Returns suit. Yeah, because that's what I love about it too. Is just like he's got this. He's made it the Flash suit, but he's, for whatever reason, he specifically chooses the Batman Returns suit.
Well, I kind of like that idea because it kind of plays a little bit into his Justice League character. And the suit from that is that he made it from spare parts, so he's kind of using the what he has available. It just kind of speaks to that his character. That
I didn't know that.
Well, what he was able to get, he was able to get those pieces that, once he figured out what he needed to withstand what he does. So I'm guessing it's kind of the same principles that, they needed a suit. He used, what was around to make a suit with the Batman.
I will say, though, I take that back. I was at Target and randomly they had one of the $40 statues. They had the Keaton Batman statue and it looked pretty decent up close, but it's still, I don't know. What's weird is something about his face with the McFarlane sculpt is it's very similar to the Arkham Knight series for some reason. The Arkham, like the game figures they've made. He just looks really similar to that. But anyway, I mean, it's still a good looking sculpt. It's a cool. He kind of has this like hunched looking, like he's ready to fight. But yeah, it was really cool.
I would say if you saw that statue at Target, then more than likely the figures have already hit,
and people already grabbed them. Yep. Because I was going to say I've found out about certain behaviors here in town that where they steal, they take toys and
scalpers down with the scalpers.
Yeah, it's stupid, but whatever.
Well, here's a question for you. Okay. Because we've been talking about movies and action figures and toys, and our show's about toys. What do you think it feels like there's been an upswing in terms of adaptation stuff recently? We've gotten The Last of Us based on a video game that critically acclaimed. We got Dungeons and Dragons based on their tabletop RPG game. A lot of critical acclaim. It's doing well. I mean, I know it's not making but it's got good word of mouth. I don't know if it's making gangbusters because of the next one, which is Super Mario Brothers, based on that video game. Can y'all think of any toy lines that have had trouble with this whole cracking the nut of making a good movie out of whatever, out of their IP?
That's I don't know because sometimes it's really rare now that you see toy lines for bad movies. It almost seems like it's going to be for animated stuff, or they really focus it on like a very toyetic IP, and like Marvel, DC, Star Wars.
Well, like what I was saying was like, what about movies that come from a toy, like say Transformers, G.I. Joe, which is what I was kind of thinking of when I first thought of this idea was, G.I. Joe seems like it's a really weird, tough egg to crack in terms of making a movie that's gonna.
But you would think it wouldn't be, though. It would seem pretty easy because number one, it just needs to have the right people on the project, and to me, it's a military property. So I feel like if anything,
that's another thing. But I think that's part of the problem with it is the military, the stuff that's involved in it is because.
Well, I mean,
once you start playing around, because it's not Tom Clancy, you're not getting that, you're not getting that spy military thriller type stuff.
But that's the thing. You're looking at realistic thriller. I'm just talking
no. I'm talking about in terms of general audiences. What I'm saying is it's hard to figure out what you're going to market this to. That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm getting at in terms of G.I. Joe's. How do you market something that's about military stuff that you want kids? But you also don't want it to seem like blatant propaganda, because it's really hard to do anything involving military anymore without people thinking it's propaganda. Like, I mean, look even at all of Michael Bay's Transformer movies. There's heavy military involvement throughout the stories, and they get called out a lot as there's propaganda elements in them because, I mean, Michael Bay is on very good terms as a filmmaker with the U.S. Army. He gets a lot of their assets and stuff to help with movie stuff to make everything look authentic. So it just feels like that's a weird. You got to figure out it. Just even when you go back to the Stephen Sommers one, I think he tried. I think he was close. He was doing the balance of making this its own thing.
Well, that's the thing that you have to find. I know it's a tough nut to crack in terms of like you got to find how you're going to sell it. Think of it like with Transformers, you could sell it in two ways. You had the nerds who loved robots, but then you could also sell it to people who really are like, I mean, they love cars and they love hot cars and souped up vehicles and stuff like that, like your Fast and Furious audience. If you could somehow combine that and even go beyond that, and make it where everybody can watch it. I think that was the magic of Transformers, is it kind of pulled in a lot of random people, because I thought Transformers was going to just flop. I mean, I just didn't think people would care about.
I knew it was going to be big,
but it's like
they could play into the Barbie-like ridiculousness of it. Yeah, I mean, if you've watched the trailers for Barbie, which looks incredible, I'm flabbergasted by how insanely interested I am in this movie.
Oh, it does. Actually,
have you seen the trailer for it, Ashley?
Yeah, I've seen the trailer for it.
The new one that just came out.
The one where what was the thing where they were on the beach?
The one that came out where there was one joke with Ken.
Beat you off.
That was in the trailer. But I was thinking about the other one where he was saying like, how about I come upstairs and do what? I honestly don't know.
yeah, I've seen that.
So you just lean into that. Just go back and just watch all the old cartoons and just heavily just go on that, where it's almost in its own world.
Yeah, but what I was going to also make a point to was, and like Scott's saying, is make it campy. Yeah. I would say appease your campy action, like the Expendables fans. Your Chuck Norris, guns blazing, your John Wick lovers and stuff like that. But at the same time, instead of making it like propaganda, I would say probably try to push some heavier sci-fi element to it that doesn't necessarily make it like an American thing as much as it's just like a global thing.
So here's my thing. So I think they tried that with the first movie. With it, I think that's what they tried. They tried the sci-fi element because you saw Duke and Ripcord walk around in the Iron Man suits and all this garbage. Then the second one, which was
Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson.
They kill off everybody and bring back Dwayne Johnson, who wasn't in the first one.
I thought it was a better movie than the first, right? But then they say, okay, let's just reboot with Snake Eyes. Good plan.
But
poorly executed.
Didn't it flop?
Poorly, yes, big time.
But that's
flop.
the thing, is all of them are poorly executed. Like, I think the first one probably could have worked if they would have actually put a better effort into it, better writers, better, I mean, and plus you don't even have to go heavy into flashy sci-fi, but just, like a more, just like a underhand. I mean, it's like the difference between having Michael Bay direct it and Denis Villeneuve direct it, that does like the Dune and Battlestar, not Battlestar, Blade Runner 2048 or 2049. Thank you. It's just those kind of aesthetics. I would love to see a G.I. Joe movie that's maybe more a bonding of the two, maybe, so that it's not as, it's campy, but it's also, I don't know, it just looks cool. And I hate to say that, it needs to look toyetic. You would want to look at it and be like, oh man, I could definitely see this as a toy and selling it as a set or something like that,
Well, see, that's the problem. The majority of the G.I. Joe fans are from the 80s generation.
Mm-hmm.
When you put these characters on screen, they look nothing like what they looked like back in the 80s, right? They're all same military uniform, same everything, the good guys and the bad guys. And I think with there's a uniqueness. It's almost like a superhero universe, right? Where every hero looks different. And I think you have to do that with G.I. Joe, but in a way that, which is kind of hard. You're kind of mixing the military aspect with a little bit of sci-fi aspect with that individual hero looking look to it, which is non-military because everything's uniform and, military wise, but everybody's different in G.I. Joe. They all have their specialties and they all look different. But I think you have to bring that uniqueness of each character into this movie to appeal to that hardcore base that will drum up interest for everybody else, right? Because all three movies, I think fans have like the hardcore G.I. Joe fan base is just like poo-pooed on every single movie.
Yeah.
And, that starts spreading over the internet and, does it have an effect? I don't know. But I know it has an effect on the toy sales because look at the Snake Eyes movie. Those G.I. Joe Classified series are still sitting on toy shelves. I have them at my Walmart, and they're not marked down, which is ridiculous. It's like, why aren't these things moving? They're still like, what, 1999, whatever it was back when they came out. They're decent figures for action figures. They're just, nobody wants them because of the poorly received movie.
Yeah. I with all the elements, I think it might be best if they were to maybe lean toward a self-aware take on it. I have noticed some of the ones that can do pretty well when it comes to an IP where you don't really know, like, I remember the Lego movie was a great example of this because this was the first one that I remember that really tackled this since maybe Scooby-Doo, in terms of self-awareness, but done in a really clever way. Yeah, you remember how the Lego movie did? I mean, did you ever go see it, Ashley?
Yeah, I saw both of them. And the Batman Lego movie.
Yeah. I mean, that one was always surprising because, when the big twist happens, the reveal, and then all of a sudden there's this whole new layer added to the story, of themes of, the kid just trying to bond with it, trying to connect with his father.
Mm-hmm.
That movie.
And I feel like something similar is probably going to be involved in like the Barbie movie also. Because, I mean, it's got a pretty acclaimed director, who was it, Greta Gerwig? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Greta Gerwig.
And it does look like there's going to be a lot of self-awareness in that as well, in terms of like the humor involved. So maybe that might have to play into
I was going to say
the G.I. Joe
looks
stuff.
like it's. Yeah, I was going to say Barbie is that's what it's got going for it. Is it looks like it is leaning heavy into its property and like knowing that especially girls of the 80s that grew up with the Barbies and stuff, the 80s and early 90s, they're gonna lean hard into that. I can tell.
Yeah. So here's the question: what's Barbie rated?
I think it's going to
PG, right?
I don't think it's got a rating yet.
Okay.
I don't. My guess is that it's going to end up being PG-13. That's my guess.
Yeah. When
because that's always the safe get away with anything age. That's where you can say that it's PG-13, but you're still going to get kids going to see it.
Oh yeah. Dude, every Marvel movie is like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every DC movie is like that.
Yeah.
Do we know a release date on Barbie?
Yeah, it's May or July 21st.
July 21st. Have you seen any Barbie movie merchandise out yet? Just curious. Like I know we don't. You probably don't shop at the girls' aisle. I doubt it, but
I haven't
I
even
walk
thought
by them a
about
lot
it.
though and look through some of that. I just haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything on display for Barbie yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if they start pushing it.
yeah, I would just wonder how this movie might increase sales for Barbie, because I know Barbie's been one of those things that's sort of been going downhill for a while now, right? Because kids are just into other stuff, right? And I know there's hardcore collectors, but I don't know. I don't know the brand that well. I don't know if there's like the hardcore Barbie.
The Smithers, the Smithers collectors.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Ashley?
No, what are you talking about?
Smithers from The Simpsons.
Simpsons.
So, like in the Simpsons universe, there's their own Barbie analog called Malibu Stacy, which all the girls Lisa and all the girls. But Smithers, Mr. Burns' personal assistant, he's a hardcore collector. Like he's like one of those old school, like he's like the he's like the Steve Sansweet of Malibu Stacy collection.
Oh my god!
So it's like that, for Barbie.
I'm just wondering because a lot of times the movie studios will use the toy company as sort of marketing for the movie, right? The toys are basically a marketing aspect for the movie. Hey, these are out on shelves. Kids see it. Oh, I want to go see this movie. Brings kids to the movie theater. So, but Barbie is its own toy brand in itself. I just wonder if this will, change the face of Barbie and get more.
It could be seen as an attempt by Mattel to see if they can tap into that adult collector market, which has become a bigger thing, in recent years. Like, a lot of adults have gotten into toy, get back into their kidults, and they've there have been articles that are saying, they've been helping the industry kind of have a resurgence. So it could be an attempt because right now Barbie as a brand is still very much aimed at young girls. So this could be a way for them to see if they can tap into any type of adult demographic. So that wouldn't be surprising. I'm curious to see how they would approach that of making a product that an adult would be interested in collecting and setting up.
Yeah, I would love to see some data on like all the toy companies that make toys or just the toys based on movie properties, television properties, how well it sells against its counterparts. And like, okay, so Marvel Legends make the comic versions, they make the movie versions. The movie versions tend to not sell as well as the comic versions.
Really?
Right? Yeah, the comic versions typically will sell out, be gone. The movie stuff will be sitting there for whatever reason. I don't know. If I go to GameStop, I guarantee you I will see movie Marvel Legends sitting on discount and not moving.
Yeah. I think it would also depend on which Marvel Legends movie it is. Like for example, like Eternals. Eternals just became like a whole wave of peg warmers, which was really unfortunate.
Yeah. But even like
and
stuff
Thor,
like
I feel like Thor: Love and Thunder was like that too. It didn't seem like those sold that well either.
I think the only thing I keep seeing in terms of that one was anybody that wasn't Thor there wasn't Thor or Mighty Thor, Jane. Yeah. I keep seeing, like, I saw tons of Gores sitting on pegs. I saw tons of Valkyrie sitting on pegs. And who was was there one other person? Or was it was just
Thor? Was the agent, the what's his name? He's not SHIELD, he's FBI or what is he?
And from the Love and Thunder wave?
Yeah, Frodo Baggins.
No, he was in the Wakanda. He was in.
He was in the Wakanda wave.
Yeah, he was in. Yeah, he's in.
And you're
Black
talking
Panther,
about Bilbo.
You're talking about Martin Freeman.
Bilbo. My bad.
Yeah,
but
Martin
here
Freeman.
you go. So Sky Knight chimes in. I have like 20 comic figs for Marvel Legends. Only one live action version of a character.
Yeah,
There you go.
there.
I mean,
Our own personal anecdote statistic.
yeah, and like DC Multiverse. So those Zack Snyder Justice League figures,
Mhm.
a lot of those were peg warmers for a long time.
Yeah.
Cyborg, Aquaman, you know, the Suicide Squad tended to stay around for a while too
Mhm.
on pegs, while some of the other figures move. I don't know what it is about.
Well, I thought the Superman and the Batman from the Justice League wave sold pretty well, didn't they?
Well, it's Superman and Batman, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's just like the Snake Eyes toys from the Classified series.
Mhm.
Snake Eyes is probably the hardest one to find, but you can easily find Scarlet, Baroness, Storm Shadow, which is weird, anywhere. Typically, Scarlet and Baroness will be your peg warmers for that. They're getting double hit, movie and female figures, which female figures, by all accounts, don't sell well as male figures for whatever reason. That's I mean, even McFarlane has come out and said that's why he doesn't make as many female figures.
Misogyny.
Yeah, he said they just don't sell. And I guess if you're really saying a boy's going into the boy aisle looking for toys, he's probably more than likely going to pick up a guy than the girl figure. I guess because I guess I don't know. I guess you're looking at that figure and like that's who you want to be, kind of.
It's a cipher.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, good. Good
or
word.
an avatar for you.
Yeah.
My preference when it comes to figures, it just usually depends on two things. Do I like the character a lot, and does it look good as a figure that I would want to set up? Like, for instance, like here's one female figure I have that I really, really love is this Mara Jade figure from from Star Wars.
Heir to the Empire.
That's a great one. But there's also a thing I've noticed with a lot of female figures is that sometimes the sculpts are really lacking in some places. And I've noticed there's one thing that keeps coming around, and I don't know what the fix could be, but it's usually ankle joints are not as strong. It's really it's a bizarre thing.
My April is horrible.
Yeah, like one of my worst ones is my Ahsoka from the Rebels era.
Yep.
She terrible ankle joints. She cannot stand to save her life.
Is it you're talking about the Black Series?
Yeah, Black Series
okay.
Ahsoka. Black Series Ahsoka from Rebels. So she's got the she's got I think she's got kind of raised boots. I think they're kind of here.
Yeah.
They've got got bigger heels on them compared to her. The live action Mandalorian one is way better.
Yeah, because it's flat footed. Yeah, and she's kind of got the whatever you call the ninja. It's kind of like that Japanese based samurai. What would you call this kind of footwear that she was wearing? Where it's kind of it's got a shaping around the toe area.
Yeah,
where it almost looks like a kind of sock thing. I don't know the term for it, but yeah, I think that would help that. Yeah.
Speaking of, I want a Black Series of just about. It seems like every character on that show, I'm going to want a Black Series of gotta have a. Well, I mean, I've got an Ahsoka, but I'll probably want to get another one because they'll release another one from that. I'm going to want a Hera, Sabine. Going to have. I want to have a. Oh Lord, they finally named her. It was like Elsbeth, something Elsbeth.
You're talking about the Magistrate.
The Magistrate. Thank you. I would like to have a Magistrate. God, I'd love to have the both of those kind of like dark Jedi looking people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like the girl and the guy. I'm trying to get the names pulled up.
Because I've kind of gotten to where if I can see it, like with a female figure. If they don't come with heel, like if their character design doesn't have heels on it, there's a much better chance that character is going to have better ankle joints and better standing power.
Yep.
I've noticed.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yep.
some characters, like some of the characters I have that have very like flat feet, stand really well. Like I had, Harley Quinn with her giant boots from Suicide Squad. She stands really well. Bo-Katan, Costco Reeves, they got flat boots. They both stand really well. Yeah,
But you look at something like Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah,
she's got like cankles.
I say I have not bought any Wonder Woman. Like I wouldn't mind getting a live action Gal Gadot Wonder Woman figure, but I've not seen one that I've been impressed enough with to.
What about the new one?
Not even that. Like the weird thing that they decided to do to make the
tiara. Yeah, that was horrible. Yeah,
because it was an interesting choice because I guess they thought I guess you can use it, do the weapon thing with it. But
the legs look better. The legs on that one look better than their
the face
release.
The face sculpt looked better. Looked a lot better than the other one. But I haven't seen one that really made me want to jump out and get it. I haven't like Aquaman the same way. I haven't seen one that looked decent enough yet. But there's only been one so far. We're not going to see. We're not going to see what the next one's going to look like for a while.
Welcome, Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse.
Howdy.
That's a cool name.
That is really cool. But no, I'm ready. I'm ready for the Black series of that series of Ahsoka to come out because I would love to get a. Oh Lord, his name is. Well, Shin Hati's the girl. His name's
Thrawn.
No, Shin Hati is the girl, but then Balin Skull, that guy,
Ray Stevenson.
I would definitely want Ray Stevenson's character. Yeah. That figure would be awesome to have because he just looks so cool. But obviously I'm going to want Thrawn when they finally put him out too.
Why do you think do you have any reasons why you think the comic versions of a character might sell better than movie version?
Which is a much wider
reach.
Bias, maybe it's like, also if you're a fan of the comic and that's what, that was your bias, like that's what got you into the series. You probably prefer that over anything else. It's probably how it is. It's sort of like how, like with me, Batman, my Batman was Michael Keaton Batman, mainly. So it's like I just solo figure. Yeah. I wish, that is something we got Jaina. I've got Jaina. Yeah, I would love to have a Jason Solo figure.
Oh, you EU nerds.
She's one of the few figures that I still have in the box. I have not brought myself to open that up yet.
You EU nerds.
I love it. Now we need like the ships from the EU and so forth.
In Black series?
Huh? Either that or just like just like anything like the Hot Wheels versions or the mission, whatever that mission fleet or squadron or whatever it's called is. Speaking of, I'm surprised we haven't gotten a Ghost of that line yet, or maybe they'll come out whenever the show Ahsoka comes out or something.
Well, there's rumors floating around
of a reprisal of the Lego set, a new version,
and there's rumors floating around that there might be a HasLab coming up.
Ooh,
but it'd probably be for the vintage collection. Yeah. Right, the 3 3/4 inch size.
Yeah, unashamedly, I will like if there's a Lego release for a new Ghost, even though I have 2, I will order that.
Really? Well, I mean,
no, there's no question. I will pre-order that.
I feel kind of bad about selling mine now. I was like, oh God, I wish I could get that back. That was kind of dumb, but hey.
I'm hoping though that this second go around will do for a better build, because as great as it is a very lacking set in terms of stuff you would want in a cool Lego Star Wars ship. You want, for me, the best thing you can do is have a ship with some space to be able to fit all of the figures that come with the set inside of it, because that makes it almost like its own carrying case when you have to transport it somewhere. My Millennium Falcons, I have 3 Millennium Falcons now. I'm not getting any more, but I have 3. There are so many people on those Falcons that have never been on those Falcons before in the Star Wars universe. Because I
don't have anywhere to put them.
Yeah, they're like my retirement homes for characters that I'm like I have I had an old Kit Fisto that my wife gave me years ago. She gave me a Kit Fisto keychain Lego figure.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, because he has a specific rubber head,
Mm-hmm.
The paint rubbed off his face and it looks horrifying and it looks sad. So I ended up retiring him and got a replacement one. So he sits at the Jarek table. Is that what the name
With
of the
his
game
gnarly
table is?
head.
Yeah, he sits at the table. He sits with like one of the Chewbacca's across from him, and he's got Vader and Obi-Wan on the couches, just watching. It's like a smorgasbord of characters all in there. I'll have to show them to y'all sometime.
So what did you ask me earlier? I forgot. We got kind of caught off on a tangent.
Who, me?
Yeah, you asked me a question, and then we kind of went off on a tangent.
Oh, do you remember where it started from?
It was like a few minutes ago.
No. Do you remember part of what I was asking?
Oh no, it was something about women. Or no, what makes comic book like?
Oh yeah. So what makes you? So why do you think that the comic figures sell better than the live action, like the movie based figures?
Well, I mean, to me, obviously, the comics have been around way longer. Mm-hmm. I mean, and for the kidult generation, which is, I would say, me, maybe a little bit younger, older, right? They grew up with comics. That was their introduction to pop culture. Was the comics, and I think that's what drives them to go out and get the comic versions. Whereas the movie versions, you're just getting introduced to them, right? They only put out a handful of figures for each movie, maybe 5, maybe 6, 7, 8 if you're lucky. So there's nothing to really, there's no hope of building that collection. I mean, yeah, when you're talking the Marvel Universe, if you're looking at the Marvel Universe as a whole, yeah, you're going to get a lot of figures. But if you're just looking at individual movies, you're only, like I said, you're getting a handful. And who's to say you'll ever get anything else from that? But if you're a comic collector, then they're going to continue releasing these comic figures, especially with Marvel Legends. It's probably the same thing with DC Multiverse too. I know a lot of people in my McFarlane DC Multiverse group on Facebook that they don't buy the movie figures, or the TV figures. They buy strictly the comic figures. They don't even buy like this is the Todd McFarlane designed Batman or the Wonder Woman or whatever. Yeah. If it's not comic accurate, then they don't buy it. And I guess that's just because of maybe their love of the comics. I guess who knows? Well,
when you bring that up, I do notice that there is one other thing besides the comics that I always see either is sold out or really hard to find. Adaptations of game figures. Like, have you noticed that? Especially like if you look at Marvel Legends stuff, where it's one of the figures based on how they look in one of the video games.
Yeah.
Those have sold pretty well from what I've seen. Like, you can't, even though it was pretty poorly received, I think all those Marvel from the Marvel Avengers game that was made a couple years back, those are not easy to get, I don't think, anymore. I think like the Nolan North Tony Stark is really, I think that sold pretty well. Especially the multiverse for the figures for the Spider-Man PS4 games, PS4, PS5 games.
Oh yeah, those sold like hotcakes.
Those sold,
and they're super expensive.
Yeah, and they're probably.
I will say, Miss Marvel though, she's a shelf warmer, peg warmer. Yeah, from that game.
And, I actually have her.
Yeah, I know,
because I saw her for like less than $10.
Yeah, I think my GameStop, or the closest GameStop to me, still has her on the peg.
That's sad.
Yeah, and again, is it back to that same thing where it's a female figure? Who knows? Yeah. I don't know. But
she stands. Well, actually, I don't ever have her standing because I always have her doing that little sitting pose where she's kind of dangling like the dreamy, sitting on a rooftop type of pose. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, with that game, for all its flaws, that was my introduction to Kamala Khan. And then, from there, I went and read the comics. I really loved her as a character. And then that got me to the TV show. So she's my main reason that I'm interested in the Marvels movie coming up. It's not even Carol Danvers or Monica Rambeau. I think she's going to carry that movie more than the other two.
Yeah, possibly.
Which is weird, but
Sky Knight says I own Gotham Knights and Nightwing. And
I think that wave did pretty well too. The Gotham Knights wave, from what I see, because I don't really see too many of them in stores.
Yeah, the only one I have from that wave is Robin. I for whatever reason I just didn't get the other. Let's see. Masked Panther says the toys at my local Target that don't sell are all the Jurassic Park, He-Man, Buzz Lightyear stuff.
1,000%, because they're still all there.
Lando Calrissians in the Star Wars section. That's true. That same Lando Calrissian is in everybody's Walmart and Target, still sitting on the shelf.
Is it the General Calrissian figure, the one from Return of the Jedi?
Yeah.
I feel like Walmart's been playing chicken with me on that figure, because I've been waiting for it to go down into the clearance, and I'll buy it. I want one. I want a General Calrissian. And yeah, they won't budge. So I just had this. I've been playing chicken with them where I'm like, okay, you won't budge? I won't budge.
They think that's as popular as Halo 3, where Microsoft held on to that $59.99 price range for like a couple years before they finally let it drop.
Yeah. And, for all the people that love He-Man, yes, I do see lots of He-Man sitting around.
Lots of He-Man
on the shelves too, which is sad because I do like He-Man, and the Buzz Lightyear stuff. They just need to move that out. I mean, that's never going away.
Yeah, it's like the Toy Story stuff probably sells all right, but yeah, the kids just don't care about it. And I even looked at the Buzz Lightyear. I mean, the Lightyear figures, the toys, and they actually look pretty cool. I just don't care for.
But the movie did horrible too, I believe. So
yeah, it did.
So, what's the motivation for kids to get into it? Because they're not watching it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's just all around no interest, I guess.
Yeah. I think another factor also has to be, because you brought up earlier how well that figures do with comic-based figures do because of how it relates to exposure.
Yeah.
For the person who got into that character, usually that first version of them is what kind of sticks with them the most, and that's what they want to have a tangible version of.
Yeah.
And kind of looking at my shelf, I can kind of see there's a similar thing with the first with Ninja Turtles. One of the most concrete, tangential or tangible versions of the figures that I always wanted was based on that first movie. And that, because that goes back to my earliest memories. I mean, I know I watched the cartoon as well as a kid, but that movie was one I played ad nauseum on a loop as a kid. Mm-hmm. And that sold really well. It is really hard to get a good deal on those figures still.
Really? You're talking about the NECA ones or the
NECA, the NECA set that came out. And I mean, even their sets for the sequels, for the sequel, and I think those sold. And
I want to get one of those, one of the killer pizzas.
The not xenomorph.
These are like super hard to get now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not super hard to get, but you go on eBay and look at some of the older ones.
Oh yeah. What about the Ninja Turtles coming out of our shell set? How do you think that's doing on eBay?
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Ashley?
Yeah, let's just look it up.
The live.
I bet it's a lot, because I mean it's at least $160 to $200.
Yeah, to anybody who's not informed. Yeah, so back in the early '90s, the Ninja Turtles did they had their own live tour show. It was called the Coming Out of Our Shells tour, and there was a videotape you could get. I had a copy of this, and you can. And watch this on YouTube. Just look up, Ninja Turtles Coming Out of Our Shells. You have
just in a rock. They were like a rock band form, or like a boy band, where they just danced and rocked out and stuff and sang.
Yeah, it was just. Yeah, it was.
It's not the Mutagen tour, is it?
It might have been the Mutagen tour, but Coming Out of Our Shell is always part of like the title somewhere. Maybe that was just the name of their first song.
It's about $200.
Yeah, but it's a really bizarre thing to watch. Because
waiting.
Yeah, because they wear like regular tennis shoes because their costume design wasn't that great to begin with. It's not Stan Winston. This isn't the Jim Henson designed costumes they're wearing. They're just barely mechanical heads that could just flap open, and then they just add dialogue. They were very bizarre, trying to go for like a Kiss looking kind of look where they had like glitter like in parts of themselves. Like I think one of them wore like a glitter symbol over one eye.
I thought they had glasses on. Like
one of them had glasses on, I think, for part of it. Yeah.
So Mask Panther says, to be honest, also the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 Marvel Legends look pretty cool, only because they have comic accurate suits on. That's true. I mean, I do like movie figures, especially comic book based movie figures, where the suit actually looks like just a live action version of what it was in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
That to me, that's something cool that superhero movies just it's hard to hit for whatever reason. It may not look good on screen, it may not film good, whatever. That's why I'm hoping James Gunn, he announced that they're in pre-production on Superman Legacy now, and they're doing suit designs, casting, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that suit looks comic accurate. I'm hoping, I like the Man of Steel suit. Mm-hmm. There's things that I would have tweaked on it, especially the back. I hate how the cape kind of rides up on his neck. I want it to hang down like a tank top kind of thing on the back, with the S logo, like he looks in the comics. That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm. I would definitely want the S logo back. The yellow shield back on the cape would be cool.
Yeah.
But no, I'm with you. Do you think Iron Man's probably like the one that was closest to the comic representation when it came to live action?
Well, yeah, because he was based on what's his Granov? What's the guy's first name? Addy?
Who?
Comic artist? I don't know.
Oh gosh, I think we lost Ashley.
Came onto the Iron Man book, and kind of totally redesigned Iron Man.
So repeat the name you cut out. We didn't hear the name.
Addy Granov, I think.
Oh yeah, I've heard that name.
Yeah. And I mean, that first Iron Man movie that takes, it's close. It is close to his look for Iron Man in the comics. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember how
I'm like, this looks like what I've seen before.
Yeah, I remember how excited everybody was when the first official picture of the suit when it came out. That it looked great.
It did.
So I'm not surprised.
Well, I think we've got to the hour mark, and I'm sure everybody's ready to get to bed. Not us, talking about the audience. They don't want to see us. Have y'all gotten any hauls? Anybody spend money on toys? Google.
I can show you one that came in. So I have. This is
the Keaton
89 Keaton mask from the Flash movie.
Yes, I like.
That is cool.
What do you think?
I have not opened it yet. I wanted to wait to decide if I'm gonna end up taking it out of the box, kind of like I did with my unmasked Justice League Batman. I like it. I think it does look a little bit like Todd made it. Might have given him a slight side eye, like he can't help himself. Like he's not looking all the way like this. It's more like he's looking kind of like over here, just a little bit. Like it's like
I hate that crap, man. Just make it straight on.
You like the Mario toys where the eyes follow you.
Yeah.
No,
they do that with
that's
toys
nightmare
too.
Fuel.
Huh?
I think
some nightmare fuel right there. It's like I can't go in my room anymore. Why? Batman watches me everywhere I go.
It'd be like that. Remember the intro to Look Who's Talking To, when all his toys are talking, like he just thinks they're all going to attack him, like
the Toilet Man.
Yeah, and the Toilet Man also. But no, I just remember like his dad had to play with the toys, and he had the Louis Herman doll and stuff. But no, what about you, Ashley? Anything?
I only got one thing this week, and I left it downstairs. It was a Star Wars Vintage Collection Return of the Jedi Indoor Leia.
Ooh.
But I left her downstairs on the stairs.
Left her down there for Carrie Fish to just yell at people.
Yeah, I didn't bring her up.
You're not doing a good enough job. Shut up.
Oh.
Just shut up.
And I bought like 4 or 5 more of these different ones. They were on sale. They were on sale, so I went ahead and bought some. So they're still downstairs too.
Nice.
Yeah,
what about you, Austin?
Nothing. I have nothing.
You have nothing?
Yeah, no. I blew my wad on like Mario toys and a few other things, but yeah, that's about it. But all right, guys. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up for this week because that's it. That's it.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks all the people in chat for joining in. Please hit that subscribe button.
Smash that like button.
Go to that Toy Life YouTube channel and subscribe. That would be great. That would be awesome. Help us increase views.
Yes. I think Todd is like Christopher Walken's music producer in the Blue Oyster Cult skit. Gotta have more side eye. Gotta have more side eye.
More side eye.
Later days.
Bye.
That toy life.
To catch these ghosts, you need the real Ghostbusters.
Nice landing, Han Solo.
Spaceships and Luke Skywalker sold separately. Batteries not included.
That toy life.